Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at @AdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special episode. Today we have Lisa Williams on the line, and she is an author of one of our latest Money Matters books. It's Volume 3 of the Business Leaders Edition. And Lisa's chapter in the book was called Recruiting in a Side Gig Economy. Lisa, first off, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Adam. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, my gosh. First off, congrats on the new book. I'm so excited to talk about it, and it was an honor to publish your work, so thank you.
Absolutely. It was so fun. We've had such a good time with you.
So we're going to get into the content of the book, so definitely recruiting in a side gig economy. We'll go into your background some, but before we do, I do want to talk about what you're doing at your current company, which is as Chief Inspiration Officer over at Perfect Side Gigs. You're the woman I'd be looking at for that. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much, audience, for tuning in. So we live, oh my goodness, in the most wealthy country in the world, the land of freedom, and yet so many families I've counseled over the years, they live paycheck to paycheck, and the gap between, the wealthy and not so wealthy, it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger. And I started my own side gig a couple of years ago and have entered this amazing world of business builder and entrepreneurship, and I saw a need in our country. I've been recruiting for 25 years, and I've simply shifted from recruiting for a job to helping families create awareness around business pursuits that they can do on the side. And it's a kind of a combination of coaching program. We do a lot of coaching on business development and mental toughness. We help create a business plan and really dive into your why of why you're doing this. Mostly because I feel like a lot of people are living life less than they could be. I know I was. And so my goal is to help 1,000 families make what they did in a year, in a month. And there's lots of business opportunities that can help them do that.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And at the end, I'm going to give you some time to leave, whether it's website or email or wherever you want to send our listeners that do want to connect to learn more about Perfect Side Gigs. But just so that the right type or the right listeners, I should say, connect with you, what are the industries and or types of individuals that are typically going to be a good fit to work with you?
Yeah, so in terms of the ideal client, I think that's easiest to understand based on what I've been, because it really is iterations of people's lives. So I could absolutely see this add value to Lisa, the college graduate. I was a psych major, had no clue what I wanted to do, and kind of stamped my resume out like I think a lot of kids do. I would have loved some type of coaching program about entrepreneurship like that. I wish they offered it more in schools to everyone. So it could be that new graduate. It could be where I was 15 years into my career when I went through a divorce and I was a single mom of a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old. I was so blessed to have a great living that I could, support myself. But I think a lot of single parents aren't in that position. So perhaps, that person that's looking to reinvent themselves and maybe enter the workforce again. And then it could be me present day. I've been an executive in corporate for 25 years. I've been blessed with a great income, but I just found that I was no longer inspired and I wasn't learning and I wasn't growing and I had stopped dreaming. So I think there's a lot of people like that. We don't ever get to take the class, like, what am I actually supposed to do with my life? What am I meant to do with the gifts that I have, So I'm hoping that's what my prayer that our portal and program can do for people.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. And so let's switch it up a bit. I do want to get into the book. So recruiting in a side gig economy. Where do you want to start with this one? What was the inspiration?
So the inspiration was my customers that I was serving, really, and myself. I've been blessed with a career in recruiting for 25 years in the really well-paid areas of technology and financial services. And I just found that so many people that were coming to me, they were looking for a new, job, but they really weren't super excited about it. Oftentimes, I felt like employers were asking more and more of people and not necessarily paying them more. There was so much stress in the work environment. Politics were getting a lot more complex at my own firm, and I found that my clients were feeling the same. And I just saw a need for myself to grow. And as a result of it, I went on this journey myself and have just been sharing it with others. And I've just found such joy and passion. And I don't even feel like I'm working anymore. I think so many people, they get up in the morning and they look in the mirror and they're not really excited about where they're going. And so it's crazy timing. I mean, we've been in business and helping families for 2 years. But we finally launched. That's what I've used this time to do, with this COVID-19 crisis. But my chapter really is about that journey of there are so many wonderful business pursuits that people can take the skills that they've harnessed in corporate and apply that to their own business. A year from now, they can have a lucrative income stream that can replace their corporate, America income stream. I've done it. I've been an example. I've seen countless people that have done it. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the start of the chapter.
In the chapter, and to the listeners, we're not going to have time to go through all of Lisa's writing. And by the way, even if we did, we wouldn't. Why? Because we wanted you to go out there and buy that book. Yes, we do sell books, so you can click on that link and buy a book. We won't be mad at you. But Lisa, so in your chapter, you talk about turning a side gig into your full-time gig. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I found in my own experience is I really believe that the landscape of workforce in America is going to change. It already has. I think the days of companies, becoming, starting and hiring these big sales teams, for example, I think those are gone. So many firms use what I call, fractional workforce type models. There's direct selling, there's network marketing, there's brokerages that use more like, real estate and insurance model. My point is there are so many ways for people to build an alternate income stream that is so lucrative. The firms that I represent at Perfect Side Gigs, we fall in the financial services vertical, we fall in the medical device vertical, health and wellness, CBD oil space, legal aid, security. All of these industries have ways that families can create another income stream, and very lucrative ways. It's no longer, nothing against, the network marketing companies of old. The challenge with that model sometimes, though, is that the profit margins are so low in companies that sell supplements or shakes. Now, that is an absolutely amazing business model, though. I love the idea of families working with more than their two hands. My goal is to create awareness for people around, we love that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, those 4 cash flow quadrants. I want to help families move from that employee, self-employed category to that business or system, with a system and a investor category that businesses, benefit from. I think every family should benefit from that.
No, I love it, and it's true, and what I love about that also is that you're right. Now people can actually learn when I think when we used to think about side gigs in the past, it was not necessarily always meaningful income. It was like, oh, you can make a couple extra dollars, you could pay some extra bills, or maybe if you do really well, you might be able to, you know what I mean, like pay your rent. And which, by the way, those aren't small things. I think those definitely have a place. Now, just some of the opportunities that are out there, and some of the ways that that companies are marketing and allowing people to have access to their platforms to be able to make a living on the side. I mean, just make things really unique. I mean, think about like the obvious case example, which you actually write about in your book now that I think about it, is Uber, and thinking about like all the drivers out there and all that. I mean, that's some meaningful income. But they're still kind of not necessarily in that business category, which is what you're looking to help people to do. So they're still working off their, there's no leverage there in driving Uber. So they're not building a business per se, but they are making money on the side, which still fits into it. So Lisa, in your chapter, you talk about some of your own, you write, here are some of my own insights and advice I would give a new recruiter or entrepreneur. So we're not, you have quite a few in here, but I want to go through one or two of them with you and kind of get a little bit more of your opinion on them. So first one, always start with a goal to help someone. Tell us a little bit more about that.
As a recruiter, we have such a privilege to walk beside people in times of really exciting times when they're looking for something new, but also when they're struggling, if they've been laid off or something. And I just love people personally. I think that's one common trait with recruiters. And it's such a privilege to help someone. You can't actually truly be sad when you're helping others. And I've really never thought about selling as selling. It's really just, it's kind of cliche, I know, but it's really just finding a solution to a problem that someone has and helping them, take that initiative and actually make that choice for them. So I really just feel like from a helping standpoint, every stage of someone's career, if you can offer advice, if you can, I do so much for complimentary, when it terms of, hey, let me help you with your LinkedIn profile, or have you thought about, exploring another opportunity with a different industry, different things like that. I think if you always go in with the idea that you can help someone, then you're going to win, regardless of whether they actually buy from you or not.
So another one that I have to, because this one was one of my favorites in there, and this one resonates with me, and I know a lot of listeners, and obviously you because you wrote it, but you put, we often attribute strong mentors to our success early in our career. We also continue to seek mentors through every stage of life. Be sure that you give back as a mentor yourself when you get to that point. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorite topics. So when I landed in recruiting, quite by accident, by the way, which most recruiters do, I was blessed to have this mentor at my previous company, Kforce. Her name's Crystal LeBeau. Hi, Crystal. I hope you're listening. I would not have been where I'm at today without Crystal. She took me under her wing. She guided me. She has such a wealth of knowledge. And to this day, it's one of my favorite things to do is mentor others. I would tell people, the minute you start recruiting, you're going to find out in the first 3 months if you ever want to do it again. And if it gets in your blood, you won't stop.
You're stuck.
It's natural. I have an interview series that I just hosted. It's called Corporate to Entrepreneur. And one of my guest speakers, Christina Dees, she said, this was a great analogy. She said, think about yourself as a third grader. You are like looking at that fifth grader and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish they would just say hi to me, and then you become that fifth grader. And so her goal was really, seek out that fifth grader, but also remember that third grader that you were, and be sure that you always give back to, others in community that you can, share your knowledge with and pull them up as well.
Oh my gosh, that might be the best analogy ever. Because you just took me, you literally just took me back to third grade and fifth grade, and I'm like,
remember?
Oh yeah, they were so cool.
It's funny because I have two boys. I was going to say little boys, but they're way taller than me now. But, it's funny that you say that because my oldest, Cameron, they had like 2 years when they were in school together. And Connor, my little one, Connor would come home and he'd be like, Mama, Cameron said hi to me today. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I hope your brother says hi to you.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I love it too, because I think that it's also just representative of what you're doing and your mission behind Perfect Side Gigs. And so the idea of being a mentor and paying it forward and helping others and taking them through that journey that you did, I mean, that's it just makes perfect sense. And that's why I feel that your clients are definitely benefited by having you and working with you. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, one comment I'll make just before we get off mentor topic is one of the vetting periods that I go through when I decide to represent a firm, which all of the firms that I represent on Perfect Side Gigs, by the way, I'm either drawing an income stream myself or I'm benefiting from the product or service. They all have firms that with incredible backing, they've been around forever. But one of the big things I was looking for was an amazing mentorship program, because I think the hardest part for me about moving from, employee to business builder and running my own company has been that shift from employee mindset to entrepreneur and business builder mindset. And without a solid network of people that are examples of those that have been in your shoes, they have a starting point and now they've reached these fabulous levels of success. It's really, really hard to be successful, I think, if you don't harness that mentoring that I think is absolutely crucial.
That's awesome. So, Lisa, I know when we get talking, we can talk all day long, but we're about out of time for this episode. So that being said,
we need to do another one, Adam.
We will. Don't worry. Give me some more people on the show. We'll get you on there. So that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want to, so two-part question. So if they want more information on Perfect Side Gigs, because maybe they're a company that maybe want you to represent them, number one, or number two, the other side of the question, there's somebody that are looking for an opportunity. I mean, what's the best ways for people to follow up and learn more?
Yeah, so go to perfectsidegigs.com. Also, if you want to get to know me a little bit more, you can look me up on LinkedIn. That's my business tool of trade, so I have more of a presence on LinkedIn. My kids are helping me get more social media savvy, as is Adam. So thank you, Adam, for having me on your show. Don't forget your show. Talk about that. Oh, yes. And come on. I forgot. Yes, we are going to. Okay, actually, there's two things. I would love you to tune in to an interview series that I launched. It's called Corporate to Entrepreneur. You can go to www.corp2entrepreneur.com. I've interviewed 25 plus millionaires that went from corporate and now they're leading successful businesses. And we are going to be launching the Lisa Williams Show Journey to Your Better Life with hopefully Adam's help podcast and YouTube series as well.
Fantastic. Well, Lisa, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all the great things you're doing over at Perfect Side Gigs. And again, congratulations on the new book. I'm really excited to have published your work. Honored to do that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Without you, there's no show, so keep on tuning in. And if you're following us for the first time, definitely give that a subscribe. And also leave us some comments if you're watching that on our YouTube channel on Mission Matters Business, and leave us some comments in the video. Love to connect with you there and keep the conversation going. And Lisa, thanks again.
Thank you, Adam. And I would just say one last thing, friends. If you say yes to anything, say yes to yourself. Hire yourself. That's my goal for everyone. Bye, Adam.